Well, live.
There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for joining us on our second supplier sessions for Conex. So we've just launched our new portal for our members. So we're doing a couple of sessions a week like this, focused on our suppliers, so you can start to learn a little bit around what everyone gets up to within Conex portal. So today's host is Raam from Equitus Engineering. I won't spend too long introducing him, as I'm sure he will tell you all about what he does and how he works. And then we've got the rest of us in the room to kind of fire questions at Raam as we go along. If anyone else has any questions watching live with us, feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll make sure he receives them all as we're going through. So just a little bit of Conex updates. We have started the migration process. You should all be getting your emails as of now. It's already started, so some of you will already have your emails with your password resets. And so looking forward to actually seeing you all on the portal and collaborating and helping this UK manufacturing space. So I will hand over to Raam. I know we've all got some questions for Raam as he's going. So as I say, feel free to join us in the comments as we go. So over to you, Raam, if you want to just introduce yourself, and away we go.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Adam. Thank you all for very kindly doing this, and thank you to all our attendees who are here today. Now, obviously, today we're talking about value. We're talking about value proposition and value delivery, and keeping in line with the theme. Rather than me introducing myself, let me open the floor for all of you for the first 3 minutes to ask me any question you want to ask me, with the only caveat being my answer will help you know me better as a person. So the floor is yours. Ask any question. Attendees, feel free to type your questions in the chats. And the other 5 of you who are on my screen, feel free to ask any question you want to ask of me. You have 3 minutes to do that.
Raam, I just wanted to know, how do you actually define your value proposition? Is it something that you need to look at how your business works, or is it something that comes far more from a personal point of view?
So for me, it's again from a personal point of view, because a value proposition, if you look at the dictionary, there are 2 words in value proposition. Value, which is essentially you define it as an importance or worth of something or the usefulness. On a proposition is basically a scheme or a plan of action. So a value proposition is basically a plan of action with which you present how you're going to be useful to your target audience. So when I say target audience, I don't mean your customers, I don't mean your clients. I could mean your suppliers, your employees, your family, your kids, your in-laws, anybody with whom you're interacting, and how do you make yourself useful or apply your skills and experience to make life easier for them. So that is a value proposition.
I like the sound of that, where you're dealing with the personal values rather than it's something being just a business transaction.
No, not at all. It is business, but business is about people, and that is first and foremost you must have in your mind. You make life easy for people, you solve problems for people. That's how you monetize. So as businesses, anyway, we've jumped straight into it. So as businesses, we exist to provide value to people around us, to companies around us, and then we monetize the value we provide. That's the whole point of being in business. Personal questions, guys. Personal ones. Come on.
I've got one for you, Ron.
Go on.
What makes you feel you're most inspired?
What makes me feel I'm most inspired?
You're most inspired, yeah. What inspires you most? What really makes Raam Shankar tick?
Well, first and foremost, it is the positive energy of all the people in my life, whether the people in my home, in my family, my wife and my daughter, or the people across the world in India, which is my parents and in-laws, or all of you whom I interact with on a regular basis. The amount of positivity and energy that the people bring into my life inspires me. Even when I'm down in the dumps and I'm not feeling well, I just tell my wife, I don't feel very well today. I don't know what. She's like, get up, do something, get out. well, we can't really say sun because we live in Manchester. We only see 50 shades of grey, but when you look up the sky. But the idea is go out for a walk, get some fresh air, rejuvenate yourself, you'll feel better. It's simple things about predominantly the people around me inspire me every day. So
I'll jump in with a very obvious one. 30-second pitch for your business.
30
And on
seconds
timings.
for business. Right.
Yep.
Okay. You need to work with us because we deliver value to you by putting people at the heart of everything we do, with solutions driven by engineering, with sustainability at the heart of it. That's why you need to do business with us. 10 seconds, was it?
That was about 12 seconds. That was.
Yeah, so we save you 18 seconds on a 30-second pitch. Imagine how much we can save you over a few months.
as if you pre-planned that.
Here I've got another one now. An obvious question from a previous answer. Have you read 50 Shades of Grey?
You are?
Have you read 50 Shades of Grey?
I didn't think it was about reading. I thought it was about the Manchester weather every time I hear about it. So in a short answer, no, I've not. So,
Raam, can I throw one in?
yeah, right.
Are you the sort of person that just talks to anybody and everybody in the street?
Pretty much, yeah. I have absolutely no shields, no nothing. I talk to anybody and everybody who will indulge me. So I do not have a problem. So
I just think if you had an appointment, whether you'd be able to get to it on time or you'd be too busy chatting to everyone you pass.
Oh no. When there are appointments to be met, I make sure I turn up on time more often than not.
Unless you're joining our demo sessions on Thursday, that's scheduled.
Yeah, that was my Indianness kicking in, because the Indian standard time is called IST, and we call it infinitely stretchable time in India. So that was my Indianness kicking in when I turned up just a little bit late.
Bit of context, we had our demo session last Thursday, scheduled at 2:00, and Raam joins the room at 10 to 3.
Yeah, I was too early for the next session, basically. So.
Yeah.
So I think Steven, I don't even know what Peppa Pig World is, to be honest. So you have to enlighten me on that. But okay, so the conversation is flowing now anyway. Shall we continue on the questions, or shall we quickly go through the whole value and everything bit? Because what I'm going to touch on, obviously, when we talk about value proposition, value delivery and all that, we're going to touch on teamwork and collaboration. Which is becoming an even more important necessity in our lives, given how things have changed and how we're all looking at doing things differently. And an important essence of collaboration is teamwork and people working together, like pretty much like what we have right now. And an important characteristic in any team is each person in the team has a unique set of skills and strengths that they bring to the team. If you look at any team, whether it's a football team, a cricket team, or the Marvel's Avengers, or I won't talk about DC because they've lost the plot. But if you talk about any good team, every member of the team brings a unique set of skills, which is the value that they bring to the team. Now, what could go wrong when you talk about providing a value or talking about a value proposition is if all these team members came and said, I need to be on the team because I'm the best striker in the world, or I need to be on the team because I'm the best midfielder in the world, or if Iron Man came and said, I need to be on the team because I have all the latest gadgets and gizmos, that's not a value proposition. That's just us talking about ourselves. If I came to Adam and Sam and said, Adam, Sam, I need to be part of the Conex team because I have this great 3D printer behind me, and I have AutoCAD on my laptop, and I have Ansys on my other machine. That's not a value proposition. That's just me talking about my own self. Now, how do you get around this thing? Every time you find yourself talking about your own skills or your own strengths or your own expertise, ask yourself the question, so what? Now, for example, if I told Adam, include me in Conex because I have AutoCAD on my other machine, I have this big 3D printer. And then Sam tells me, so what, Raam, if you have AutoCAD and if you have 3D printer? Then what is my response to that? My response to that is, I can design amazing products using my AutoCAD software, and then I can 3D print them at a reasonable cost and ship them across to your people, and therefore I provide value to the rest of the Conex membership. And then Sam's like, okay, So your value or your strength or your expertise is not the fact that you have a 3D printer and Autodesk, but the fact that you can utilize them and provide a product design and a 3D printed components and parts in a reasonable time at a reasonable cost, therefore providing value to the rest of the membership. So next time you want to do a value proposition and you start writing about your own skills and your strengths and your expertise and your infrastructure, after you've written the sentence, ask yourself, so what? When you respond to that question, so what, whatever you answer that with should ideally be your actual value proposition. Are we clear on it so far? Any questions so far? Any questions? Feel free to ask.
I've got a comment there. What you're suggesting there is that because you're looking at the value of what you can do for the other person, for the customer, and how you do it, as opposed to what you do for yourself, that suggests that everything that you offer has to be framed in the customer's domain. So it's what they see, what they need, what they want, not what you like to sell them. Now the difficulty is obviously where you've got something that's standard and you're offering that out. That means the customer's deciding, is this going to work for me or not? If it's not, they're not interested. You're actually putting it so they're looking at it from the point of view of, this is going to be good for me because you've only offered something that can be.
Yeah, in fact, that's correct, Peter. And in fact, not too long ago, Adam did a fantastic post on LinkedIn about mapping your customer's journey or knowing your customer better. And that's part of what it is. And Stephen Murphy, who is on live, he recommended a fantastic book to me about this American gentleman called Jeffrey Gitomer, called The Little Red Book of Selling. A beautiful nugget of wisdom in that book is, nobody likes to be sold, but everybody likes to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't like to be sold anything, but I love buying things. So nobody likes to be sold anything, but everybody loves buying. So as long as you keep that in mind, then delivering a value proposition will be a lot easier rather than, flogging what you have to the people who don't need it. Now, obviously, you can have multiple offerings, but not all your services, all your products will offer value to everybody. Supposing on the one hand, you have, let's say, a footballer clutching his hamstring in pain, and on the other hand, you have a halftime whistle for another football team who's going on a drinks break. You would offer the pain-killing spray to the one clutching the hamstring, and you would offer Lucozade or Gatorade to the team that's going on a halftime drinks break. You wouldn't do it the other way, would you? So it's also important to know what aspects of your company's offerings will provide value to what aspect of your target audience. Now, Peter, you mentioned something about customers and clients and all that, but I say target audience because if you want to recruit somebody, the job spec you put out is the value proposition as to why they should come and work for you. Absolutely. In fact, in October, we were all in Bridgewater where MCNC Precision did the Future of British Engineering and Manufacturing Open Day when they opened the entire factory to school students. What were we trying to do there? They were trying to pitch UK manufacturing or careers in manufacturing as a value proposition into those students. Because the students are going to invest their careers and the future in UK manufacturing. Therefore, UK manufacturing was present to those students as a value proposition. Why should you invest your future in UK manufacturing? So it just doesn't matter to your clients. It matters to your future employees, your current employees, your suppliers, everybody that you think has a stake in what you're doing, everybody who you think will be part of your journey, and everybody whose journey you will be a part of. So this works well, not just for customers, but for the entire spectrum of people within our little universes or planets. So that's how it works. So what did we speak about? We spoke about what value is, what value proposition is, and how to get it right and how to get it wrong, how to understand what a good value proposition looks like. And more often than not, people get the value proposition wrong because they don't research their customer. They don't look at what people want. And it's pretty, the most common place where I get such, like mass manufactured messages, if you like, is on LinkedIn. People say, hey, I was wondering whether you guys are interested in saving up money in tax credits. Hey, would you like to try this new customer service portal? Without knowing what we do as a company. And that often stems from a little syndrome, which I call as I heart me, as in I love myself, therefore I will sell you what I want and you are forced to buy it. Now that's wrong. Don't do that. You will never get anything out of it. A better way to do it is, I think I've mentioned it in some of my earlier conversations with people, is excuse me. I mean, remember the time when we all used to be able to go out on holidays without actually having a lot of medical testing and all that? What would we do? I mean, we would all, I mean, I don't know, we would all want to go to a sunny beach and sip cocktails on the beach. But then between our homes and that beach with the cocktail, there is a bit of a journey to go, right? You have to take the train or the taxi to the airport. You need to check in, drop your luggage. If it's not Ryanair, if it's Ryanair, you just carry your luggage with you. And then you would go through security checkup with one of the people shouting in your ears to keep your laptops out in a transparent bag, not more than 100 mil, remove your belts, remove your shoes, whatever the hell, go through the security checkup, then sit on that crummy flight, would be an A330 or a 737 Boeing, land, wait for your luggage or not, another taxi to the hotel, check into the hotel. Then you're so exhausted, by the time you get to the beach and you've had a couple of drinks, you don't know where you are. But the point is, all of us want to be on the beach and drink that cocktail, but all of us need to go through the journey of the taxi, the airport, the check-in, the security, the flight, and everything. So a value proposition is presenting what your target audience needs as if it is what they want. Does it make sense? Let me repeat it. A good and effective value proposition is presenting to your target audience what they need as if it is what they want. That's one way to present an effective value proposition. So that's one more way to do it. Now, obviously, the other important thing you need to understand is mastering failure, because now we're moving from value proposition to the value delivery phase. You know, you've done your value proposition, you've got the sales order. What you need to do now is deliver on your promise, deliver on your proposition. The biggest stumbling block to delivering on your value proposition is not mastering failure, i.e., where can your products or your services fail? The predominant failures we engineers are used to dealing with is technical failures, i.e., material not strong enough, material not the right quality, the quality standards not being met, not the right grade, or the structure not strong enough, or whatever it is. The one important failure that we often fail to, no pun intended, fail to observe as engineers is commercial failures. You can have a fantastic product that's strong, that does the job, that has a life cycle strength of about 25 years, but nobody wants it. Nobody wants to buy your product. That's a commercial failure. For example, the Airbus A380, which started production not too long ago, in 2007 is when the first commercial flight happened. Production is being stopped now as of this year, 14 years after the first commercial flight. Why? Because of the way the industry has changed. Airliners believe that it's no longer making commercial sense to have A380s on their fleet, and therefore the Airbus A380 is such a fantastic aircraft, technically sound, extremely brilliant, comfortable flight. It's a commercial failure. So as technical people, engineers and manufacturers, the biggest stumbling block we have is commercial failure. We don't take care of it. So what I call is mastering failure is the key to success. The one other thing we need to look at when we are delivering, when we're looking at value delivery, is we need to be focusing on three things. Number one is, who is the customer, or who is the target audience? I won't say customer. Who's the target audience? Whom do we want to serve? And with what aspects of our offerings? And how will we bring value to the people? The second thing is, we need to look at the mirror, look at ourselves as companies, right? What is the team that we have? What is the supply chain we have? What are the skills and experiences and expertise and resources we have? When I say resources, I'm talking about time, I'm talking about money, I'm talking about people, knowledge, infrastructure, everything that we need to create or present an offering that offers value. And finally, the final thing we need to focus on is, what else will people need external to what we are giving them in order to be able to use the products or services we offer to them. For example, if people are noticing the Peloton adverts on your TV between commercial breaks, and there's a beautiful picture of a fit person doing whatever they do. I don't know. I don't look fit, so I don't know what they are doing on those machines. You will see on the bottom in small print, it very clearly says, internet connection necessary. So it's not enough if you buy the Peloton product. but you must also have an internet connection to make the most of everything Peloton offers you. So that is what I call as supporting infrastructure. If you remember Steve Jobs' opening talk when they launched the first Apple phone in 2007, he said, an iPod, a phone, an internet communication device, an iPod, a phone, an internet communication device. He said that about 5 times. And the stress was on the internet communication device, which meant you needed an internet connection to be able to use the iPhone to its maximum extent. So you need to remember what other supporting infrastructure your products or services will need so that people can use them effectively. A supporting infrastructure could be something as simple as well-written, understandable, easily applicable user manuals or user instructions. Telling people what link to click and what link not to click when you send a LinkedIn message. So, amongst other things, right? I'll leave it at that. I won't go too far into that. So that's what you will need to go from to deliver value successfully every time. I guess that brings me to what, 21 minutes, is it, Sam? Or do I have any more time, or should I shut up now? And
no, you've pretty much nailed that. I'll give you another 60 seconds to tie it all up if you want, and then we'll go to questions from everyone in the room and on LinkedIn.
60 seconds to tie it up is, the reason I'm talking about it is because as a company, Equitus went through its own journey of reinventing itself so that we are able to offer value to the people that we meet. Because when we started off, we were simply an engineering services and quality and training management company. That's it. Then a couple of years after we formed, we started doing work for the European Space Agency supply chain. We started doing some amazing work on seismic resistant structures and helping clients export to New Zealand and Turkey and all that. And then we realized we're no longer an engineering and quality company. We are a full-fledged engineering services company. And again, we reinvented our identity. But over the last 18 months or so, we've gone more than doing engineering. We've been doing a lot of design work. We've been helping people do a lot of innovation-related activities. And innovation is a different subject we can talk about at a later date, not today. And therefore, what we've now done is we've reinvented ourselves, or we've repositioned ourselves as a company that does design, engineering, and innovation. And we've now have different websites, each of which reflects our unique offering. We have a design website called Equitus Design. We have an Equitus Innovation website. We have an Equitus Engineering website. And we have an overall website, which is called equitusworld.com, which links all these things together. Therefore, we're able to offer value to different sets of audiences, regardless of what it is that we do as a company, whether it's design, whether it's engineering, whether it's innovation. And we've learned it the hard way. Right, yeah, that's it. Thanks, Sam. I think that was 60 seconds or a bit more. So.
No, that was pretty good. Can you make sure that you put all of the links to the different websites in the comments, everyone, so people can...
Yeah, I will do that if I can figure out how to do it. Right.
Has anyone got any questions for Raam based on what he's been discussing now? I know Adam's got one up his sleeve.
Yeah, well, there's another one actually. So, Raam, because me and you have had this conversation loads of times, this customer avatar, the value proposition, everything. Are you a big advocate of the value proposition canvas? The value map and the customer profile, and going through the pain relievers and gain creators and things like that to make sure your product and service fits.
Surprisingly, Adam, for somebody who talks so much about value proposition and value delivery, I'm not a big fan of that canvas. I find it too confusing. Okay. And I prefer the more traditional method of asking the question why about 5 or 6 times and understanding what really the customer lies at the heart of the customer's problems, and then starting to do the solution from that up.
Yeah, so I think the question of that, so what, I think is very, very powerful. When you do that side, very powerful. No, yeah, spot on. Superb.
Out of interest, the 4 of you, not including Raam, anyone want to be put on the spot and see if they can summarize their business based on what Raam's just been talking about? Anyone going to volunteer to do a quick sentence on what they offer as their business, their service, based on what Raam said? Anyone been making any notes on what he was saying?
Well, I could give it a go.
Go for it.
So, we're an engineering consultancy, and we are trying to help small businesses to improve, making use of the people and the skills that they already have in-house, plus any equipment that they already have, to get the best benefit before they start having to invest and grow externally. So I think from Raam's discussion there, it's definitely focusing on what do people actually need as opposed to what would they like to buy.
Yeah. What do people need? What do people want?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I did have a little question for Raam.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier on about, and I was quite pleased to hear it about your team, and it was about including your supply chain rather than just within your own with your own organisation. Is it difficult to actually manage that aspect of the team where you're relying on other people, or have you built up enough level of trust and responsibility or relationship with them?
It is not easy. Nothing is ever easy. I'm glad you asked this question, Peter, because I'd actually forgotten something I wanted to tell everybody right at the start of it.
Thanks for sending the notes earlier.
Yeah, thank you for that. You kind of reminded me. Again, this comes from the conversation we were having before we went live with Mark and Adam and rock stars and guitars. I'm a big fan of rock music, and one of the famous rock bands of all time is called AC/DC, and they have a song called "It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll." The point that the song summarizes the struggles of a rock band before they become a worldwide phenomenon like AC/DC are, and the kind of nonsense and horrible situations they have to go through. And it's the same. It's a long way to the top, whether you want to rock and roll or whether you want to deliver value or whether you want to be good at what you do. It is always a long way to the top, even if you want to establish a trustworthy relationship with your suppliers and your customers and everybody. It's never as easy. It is always difficult, but it is worth the hardship you put in the initial stages. It will pay you dividends multiple times over once you've been through the initial hardship. That's the whole point of it. It is a long way to the top, regardless of what it is you want to do, but it'll be worth the time and journey.
Sam, coming back to your original question around, does anybody want to do a value proposition? From a general point of view, from a business, and because we go down into the different products and services we give and try and do a value proposition. But from a new way growth point of view, it's eliminating the feast and famine of sales and cash flow, getting the work-life balance back on your terms. The no bullshit approach to business growth and client acquisition for small businesses and entrepreneurs. That's our VP for new way growth.
There you go. Spot on. Angela has dropped a question into the chat asking how you go about actually finding out what people need. It's not the easiest thing to do. How you
sounds like the easiest thing to do, but Henry Ford said something all those years ago. If he had gone to the farmers in rural Michigan and asked them what they really needed, they would have just said, "We want a faster horse." They wouldn't have asked for the Ford Model T. So it's not just about asking what it is that they need, and it is following it up with, why do you need a faster horse? So that I can get from my farm to the town really quickly. Okay, why do you want to get from your farm to the town really quickly? So that I can carry my produce and sell it at a right time while the markets are still open and return home in time. Okay, so if your mission is go from farm to the town to sell your produce and return home at a comfortable time, what you want is something that will take you there and back in record time and also help you carry all your produce there and back. A faster horse you think will do the job, but how about I present to you the Ford Model T? Load it up at the back, pull the crank, and you're going into town quicker than you could in the fastest horse imaginable. So it's not just about asking what they need or what they want. It is probing to the heart of their problems, and you will not do that unless you ask questions that make you uncomfortable and make them uncomfortable initially. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do this? Why else do you want to do that? So that's what you want. How about solution? That way, you can build a solution for the actual problem rather than a downstream consequence.
Brilliant. Has anyone else got any questions? I think before we end on Adam's final question for Raam. Anyone else want to jump in?
Why are you smiling, Adam? Have you got something?
No, it's the one that I was going to say. So, just to round up, to summarise for you, Raam, as to where you are. If in 150 years science fails to save us, and all that is left is a book about your life, what would the title be, and what would the blurb say about Raam Shankar and Equitus Engineering?
Right. The title will be No Filter. The blurb will be Made Friends and Lost Friends for Saying It Like It Is.
Superb. That's how it should be, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
As if he already prepared that, and we genuinely didn't tell him about that until just now.
No, in fact, a friend of mine told me this. Told me this. Ram, I think the title of your autobiography should be No Filter. Like, why you say it like it is. And it's just from experience in life. I've made friends, I've lost friends because I say it like it is. So,
Ron, the one thing Mark put a question in which earlier on, and he was asking it, and he said, he asked, what is your why? And I'm intrigued by this as well.
Yeah. So my why. Yeah. So my why am I doing what I'm doing, or why is Equitus doing what it is doing? It's about people. We want to enable people to excel at what they do. Because when people start excelling at what they do, they become more confident at what they do. They become more assured at what they do. Confident and assured people are much more happier in life than people who are not confident or who are not assured in anything. The idea being enable people excel at whatever they do. And that's my why. Let's help people excel at what they do. Full stop. Angela's got a question. She's asking who would play the lead role. What do you think, Angela? Do you think I have enough screen presence to play the lead role? I would. Full stop.
Play your own lead.
Yeah.
So, one final question: how do we get in touch with you? How do we find more about you? Obviously, we're tagging you in all of these posts so people can connect on LinkedIn. Is that the easiest way?
Yeah, LinkedIn by far sounds like the easiest way to do it as far as today is concerned. What I'll do is I'll open up my LinkedIn and type a comment. I'll give you my email ID as well on LinkedIn. I'm doing it now. It's the easiest email ID for me to type. And what you should... Angela says Morgan Freeman. Fine, fair enough. That's okay. Obviously, link up with me on LinkedIn in the first instance, and we can take the conversation forward from there. That's not a problem. Like I said, I do love talking to people of all sorts. So, yeah, go for it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have another 2 of these sessions next week, one on Tuesday and one on Thursday, which I'll be posting about very shortly, and you'll see more information. So feel free to join us again. I'm sure we'll have another brilliant conversation. So thank you everyone for being part of it, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you all. Take care and stay safe until the next time.
Cheers.
Thank you, Rob.
Cheers.
Thank you.